We all know about the horrors of the Amazon, the unusual creatures that inhabit them, and monsters that lurk within its rivers. The infamous boiling rivers of the Amazon, what was once believed to be mythical, are actually part of our reality. This strange anomaly is hidden within the Peruvian Amazon, and its rivers can reach up to a temperature of 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hot. This was first discovered by Andres Russo, a geoscientist who first heard about this story when he was a young boy. Now, as an adult, and working on a thermal map of Peru, he came upon the mythical rivers thanks to the help of local indigenous tribes. It was 400 miles away from the nearest volcano, and the tribe had known about it, but no scientist had ever come down this far to make the discovery. You'd think it was heated by volcanic activity, but it's not. It's actually created through faults in the cracks along the river's bottom. Water will stay beneath the ground for a little bit, soak up the Earth's heat, and then escape through these little cracks in the surface. It's currently under threat by deforestation though, because it was once really hard to get to its location, usually done by walking and canoeing after an hour of driving, but now you can easily get there straight by car. Trees that can walk, another crazy species to add to the Amazon's bizarre, ever-growing list. The Amazon is a very competitive ecosystem for all living plant life, as they try their best to go up against different species when it comes to nutrients in the soil, biomass, and even the sunlight. But the walking palm came up with a brilliant way to get ahead of the game. These trees have 10 to 25 meter high aerial roots. Scientists originally thought they were used for some sort of stilt tactic to help keep their slender bodies upright. It wasn't until they noticed that the tree quote-unquote moved into a different location. I use the term move loosely because they're not technically walking, but rather they're growing new roots in a specific direction. If they're ever covered by another tree, or if the soil just isn't good enough, they'll grow their roots into a sunnier spot or soil that's richer in nutrients. Some scientists speculate that they may be able to move up to 20 meters, but that could take over the span of 2 years. Aside from its cool trick, their roots are used for a lot of plant-based foods as well, and can be used in construction of new homes. The Victoria Amazonica, one of the world's largest water lilies, and serves as the national flower of the Republic of Guyana. These lily pads can go up to the size of 10 feet in diameter that easily float on the water, as well as an underwater stalk that grows 26 feet long. They also grow incredibly fast, and with each day that goes by, they will take up 5 square feet continuously. The flower itself is fascinating, but only lasts up to 48 hours throughout the entire pollination process. It first blooms as a white female flower, sending out a very alluring scent to attract all sorts of insects. They will come and go and transfer pollen around from other flowers. Once this transfer is done, the flower will then close up with some insects still inside and submerge itself back into the water to continue fertilization. The next day, it will then come out as a mature male flower in the evening, releasing the once trapped insects to go about and start the cycle all over again. These are highly sought after plants when it comes to decoration, as well as their seeds being a tasty treat when you roast them. Did you only think that leeches were tiny? Well, guess what? There are actually giant leeches living in the Amazon. The Amazonian giant leech, the largest leech in the world that can grow up to 18 inches long. These nasty boys can be only found in the French Guiana and certain parts of Brazil, thankfully. And the majority of leeches will choose to live in wet and humid areas across the globe. Because this species of leech caused such terror in the 19th century, people would often make rumors that it would latch onto a person and completely drain them of their life force. Obviously though, no such scientific record of this account has ever been found, but they can take up to 15 milliliters of bodily fluids per minute. The Amazon giant leech doesn't have jaws or rows of teeth like their smaller cousins, but rather they use what's called a proboscis, which is an incredibly sharp, needle-like limb that comes out of its mouth to give you a little poke. Despite it literally going 10 centimeters under the skin, we won't feel it though, because they release certain chemicals that help numb the area, aiding in keeping them hidden for longer. The electric eel, my favorite little sparky boy. These guys are a phenomenon, with being able to produce their own bodily electricity that has a higher voltage than the average house outlet. Even though they are called an eel, they actually belong to the catfish family, but were called an eel due to the fact they have similar physical characteristics as one. Their shape is mainly due to the fact that they need all this extra space to hold the organs that actually give them the strange charge. They can stun animals that are the size of a horse. That's a lot of power. They have a total of 860 volts that they shoot out from their sausage-like bodies. They also use these sparks to sense their surroundings. By sending out tiny shockwaves in their vicinity, they're able to pick up distortions in the voltage, giving them an idea of what could possibly be around them. They also communicate with one another. How cool is that? Based on how strong some of the shockwaves are, they are able to determine their fitness levels or what their gender is, all from a little shock. And weirdly enough, their butts are located on their chins. That's right, since the majority of their body is used to harbor the electric organs, it had to be placed somewhere, right? This is a very stinky bird, and it's best you plug your nose if you ever come across it. The Hoatzin, also known as the skunk or stink bird, is a primitive bird species. That's right, because of all the dinosaurs that decided to stick around and evolve the way they did were the theropods. After the great disaster happened with the dinosaurs, evolution really needed to kick itself into gear and started filling in all the little niches that the new world was throwing at the remaining species. Scientists suggest that this stinky bird had its ancestors appear around 65 million years ago because of this. They are a little dumb though in flight, considering that all they really need to do is fly. This is mainly because they're ruminants, which is also surprising because it shows us that it's not just traditionally hooved animals that do this. These animals have multiple stomachs, allowing them to store nutrients for later dates in different compartments. This allows them to become a lot more heavier and, have the same flights as chickens. This is also why they're really smelly, because much like cows, they will ferment these meals in their stomachs, giving off that really putrid odor. When they have a belly full of food, they usually rest it on top of a branch while they're perched. The Amorphophallus Titanum flower, which also goes under a well-known name that I can't really say on here, but was given its creepy nickname due to the fact that they smell like rotting remains. It takes the flower roughly 9 years, if not more, to fully bloom, and thankfully only then does it release its horrible stench. It's wild though, because although it takes almost a decade to present itself, it will only stay bloomed for up to 36 hours. The tall stalk-like thing that you see in the middle is what's known as a scathe, and that thing can grow to about 6 feet in height. Its horrific smell is meant to attract dung and carrion beetles, which for some reason just love that smell, and they are the ones that will help aid in spreading its pollen. Once the flower is fully pollinated, its scathe will begin to wither and fall apart, revealing hundreds of tiny little fruit bulbs. This is now when the birds and other animals come in to pick at it, collecting its seeds along with it and dropping them down in different locations. This wonderful circle of life. Isn't the Amazon just amazingly weird and terrifying? What are your favorite anomalies from there? Let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next video.